How do you see this affecting the services that some of the organizations have been giving for many years, some of them, and what do you foresee?
Undoubtedly, everybody in this room has experienced the economic downturn and the results of it, some more than others, but I doubt that there's a single person here who hasn't in some way been affected by what's happened the last 2 to 3 years. And organizations and agencies and nonprofits have also been hit very hard and losing a lot of support, both from private donations as well as from government grants, and so it's much harder, I think, today to really be able to have the kind of services that we might have been used to from years before. But that underscores how much more important it is that we rally together and we support this community. You find an organization or you find a work that you believe in, and you personally get involved in it. If you don't have money to contribute, you have your time or you have your energy. But in times of hardships like this, the communities that can pull together and really support each other are the ones that will do okay and will thrive. Otherwise, if you just hunker down and decide that you need to protect yourself because you are in a mess and are having a hard time, you're not going to be able to offer to this community what you really are capable of offering. So I would encourage people to find a organization or find a group that you really believe in the work that they do, and you personally just get involved in it.
Another way of looking at this, we all have grumbled. We've seen what the effects of the economy has done to many people, and that I'm sorry about, that many are suffering. But we need to take a look at some of the reasons, and I believe out of this some positive things have come. And that is that we have taken for granted for many, many years that all these things would be there for us, that we can go to this. You have duplications of services all over Modesto. Many people have taken advantage of these, some have not. And so I believe that this is an awakening that we need to take a look at. And I agree with Dale that we as human beings, as people that care, need to look after our, especially the elderly, those who are handicapped. It's very, very important. God expects that of us. And I believe that that's where we should be focusing, and the children. But we have wasted. We have truly wasted. I have seen it. You've seen it in papers, being exposed and all of that. So we need to change the way we look at things, to change the way we do things, period, so that we can, if these kinds of things occur with the economy or the lack of funds here, and we can pull from there, because as Dale said, the money exists. There is plenty of money in Modesto, and there are plenty of honest people who are willing to give.
What things should we consider when deciding where to volunteer and to give of our time, our talents, and our treasures, when we're thinking about doing those kinds of things? And, what would you say to that? Ruby, you want to?
I was looking up the word give and contribute, and it dawned on me that they differ entirely. You know, you can find someone on the streets or the bell ringer, and that's a contribution. But to me, to give, I believe, comes from the Spirit of God. I truly believe that it's a heart thing. It comes from deep, because the result of giving is more than just a feeling. It lifts you. And I believe, in fact, we all have heard from generation to generation that giving, you get. But many of us, let's face it, are sometimes fearful of giving. And I believe that we should look, first of all, at why we're giving, to whom we're giving, or if it's an organization, we need to do some background check to make sure that these people have proven themselves, whether it's been 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And word of mouth is a very, very powerful thing, as we know. The organization that Elaine, that's how I got to know Pastor Mike and Elaine, through their giving. And it's important, as I said, that you get to know why you are giving. And when you know why, if you know, you believe where the funds are going, and they have a history of proving that they are worthy, that they have integrity, then you don't mind giving, not just contributing. As I said, there's a total difference. And I believe in giving, because when you give, you definitely get back. Doesn't always mean that you're going to get, say, if you give $100, you're going to get 100 right back. But you know, there is a way of balancing out. In fact, he does more than what you anticipate. And so I believe that it's necessary, if you're going to give, to be wise in your giving. You don't just drop it in. You get to know the organization to see what kind of a background, what kind of leadership, what kind of people stand out, who's worthy here to run this, and are they really doing what they say? Because this is one of the reasons that a lot of people don't give money. They are fearful, some are selfish, and they say to themselves, well, if I give this, I won't have anything. Or what am I going to get out of it? Or, well, you know, I have to think in terms of my kids, and well, that is true. Charity does begin at home and spread abroad. But we do know that giving is necessary. And out of that comes great things. And I just believe that this is the season to give, but it shouldn't be just a season. We should do it all the time. And it isn't always the financial. It is, as Doctor had mentioned, the energy that you put out. It's the next door, seeing if the neighbor's yard needs to be clean. There's all kinds of ways of giving. And we must not minimize by taking a piece of bread or some peanut butter and jelly next door, that's going to make them feel badly. We offer. There is just many, 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 many ways of giving. And it's, as I say, not just financially.
I think there's 1,000 reasons not to give. You know, the economy is tough, and your kids need money to go to college, and you got to help out your grandchild, and your bills are piling up. There's only one reason to give, and that is to love as God loves, because God gives. That's the one reason to give. And it is from the Bible. The verse that says it is more blessed to give than to receive. And oftentimes I use that as a gauge for myself as to whether I'm giving correctly or not. Because I think that in true giving, you really gain a lot from it. You may not gain, as Ruby said, you may not gain the finances back, but you gain a certain joy at being able to love another person or care about someone else. You gain a sense of God's love for that person as well, too. So it is truly more blessed to give than to receive. Now, how do I judge maybe where I would give? A couple things. In scriptures, God is very concerned about the vulnerable, particularly 4 classes of vulnerable that is listed throughout the Old Testament and incorporated into Jesus' teaching in the New Testament. So those 4 are the immigrants or the foreigner, the poor, the orphans, and the widows. So I love giving to organizations or to those groups of people. Secondly, what we talked about is the board that is a part of this organization comprised of trustworthy individuals that you would feel confident about to give to that organization. Thirdly, do they collaborate with other organizations and other agencies so that do they work together and they don't duplicate processes and they share their resources and a good example would be a private and public sectors working together. And then fourthly, it's also important for me, do they help others through relationships? it is possible to give and not to know where your giving ends up, and that giving can really be helpful. So I'm not negating that possibility, but I do think that the most blessed kind of giving comes from relationships that are established. So when you develop relationships with the people that you've given to, and you develop an ability to know that person and let them to know you, I think that makes the giving a lot more rewarding. I'm a